and talk to the fellas in Saskatoon, Roughrider Training Camp. And our training camp reports are for the Red Zone Sports Bar behind the Saskatoon Travel Lodge. That's where they're at. Dave's wearing short pants, if you're watching the stream. It must not be that cold up there.
Beautiful, sunny, hot day. Like, if I had a pool, I would have had a party today.
Say that again, because we didn't have you potted up. 3, 2, and 1.
Take 2. Basically, it was beautiful, sunny, and warm today, and if I had a pool, I would have had a party.
Yeah, it's raining in Regina. Is that what's happening?
It is raining in here, Pitbull.
Dolly?
Jeez, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate.
Yeah,
if you're watching the stream right now, and if you squint, you think Dave is next to Pitbull.
Mr. Worldwide.
I think it's a statement.
I asked Dave.
I think it looks good.
I say, hey man, what do I go with here? Sunglasses or none? And he said sunglasses. So I'm listening to the voice of the riders on this one, guys.
I didn't say you look bad. I think it looks actually pretty boss.
Trust me. I know I don't look bad. Trust me.
When's the last time you gave blood?
The reason, well, I can't. There's nobody in this world is AM alpha male. It just doesn't happen.
Oh! Wow.
When's the last time you gave blood, Dave?
Sorry. I didn't realize that we were passing that around. A couple of months ago, I think, somewhere in there. It was before winter.
Did you have to go in the morning? Did you go in the morning?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Who doesn't?
Elbows up?
Oh, look at me. Do you think I'm going to go ahead and miss a meal? Like, if I don't have to? Like,
yeah,
the killer for me is coffee.
Now, what's the ruling? If I would have had popcorn with my daughter last night at watching a little bit of Western Hockey League playoffs, about 9:30, and I'm like, nope, Dad. And she's like, nope, Dad can't, Mom. Mom brought home some carrot cake, too. Ooh, that's dangerous. What's the ruling there? If I have popcorn, let's say 10, do I go give blood at like 11 or 10?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah?
Hold on a second, guys. I'm pretty sure that the whole don't give blood before or eat before you get. I'm pretty sure that's the same as you can't go swimming after eating for 30 minutes. Like, let's just cut it out, okay? Just give the blood. You don't have
You're
to
the
worry
pool
about
expert.
what you're eating and stuff. I'm just saying. I've eaten a lot of barbecue before, gone right in the pool, and I haven't sunk. So I think it's the same applies for this. I think you can just go give the blood.
I think the bloodstream and how everything works in the body is different than going swimming. I think. Like if you crush
I don't think that we should sit on here and act like we know anything past basic Band-Aid application.
When did this become the science cage?
Yeah. Well, let's get into it. Slim Fast or carnivore diet? Which way you guys? Which way? You just kidding. We'll move on. Training. Hey, the big news that I saw today, and first off, Zaire released by the it was that came a little bit left field for me.
Oh, let's go through it. 7 players were released today. Noah Zaire, veteran offensive lineman, of course, 3 years, 3 teams. He's played out east, played with BC and, of course, with Saskatchewan. So he was released today, as was global punter Joe Coach. Again, Joe, I thought, would have an opportunity with Adam Korsak retiring in the offseason. You bring Kellan Laybourne in. Now, again, if you go on the internet, he actually has 3 different pronunciations for his name. So I was looking forward to getting to figure that one out, but unfortunately I won't get an opportunity. And that one surprised a little bit because, of course, he was with Ottawa last year. Didn't have huge stats, but again, I thought that he was coming in to kind of supplement A.J. Ouellette in the absence of Frankie Hickson. Then you've got Ty James, who did quite well in rookie camp. Justin Jefferson, the defensive lineman, who was the one that kind of started the brouhaha yesterday.
Great word.
Yeah.
Great word.
So the brouhaha.
I told you, man.
So yeah, those are the 7 guys that were released, and then transferred to the suspended list. Julius Bulow, who was the other guy that was part of the brouhaha, and then you have the national linebackers Jordan and Justin Herdman Reed.
Wow. Noah Zaire we talked about this on day one when we were in here together, Dave, is that there was going to be a couple O linemen that played a ton of snaps for the Saskatchewan Roughriders last year that weren't going to be on the team this year. It was evident. There's a lot of guys and there's a lot of talent on that. So I wasn't surprised there. Kalen Laybourne, I wasn't surprised either because I really like that Penix kid. What's his first name?
Trent Penix.
Trent Penix. Also number 29. Sorry, I'm doing my Charles Barkley here and just reading from the notes. Mario Anderson. So Trent Penix and Mario Anderson I really like. And I think that there's a lot there to be determined. So why not free up those reps for those two guys? Keep in mind, they're probably also looking for guys that have return capacity behind Mario Alford, right? So I think that you definitely need to free up some reps there. And then who else was released? I don't think there should have been any other surprises either. This is training camp, right? We're there for the time you do all the team gelling and stuff. That comes after camp. Right now, you got to be hired assassins.
Well, and I didn't mention
there for yourself.
Defensive back Nicario Harper as well, right? So he signed in the offseason, has some experience out of college and of course in the States, but just didn't get a lot of reps. And again, I don't want to say not surprised, but I'm just going to say he didn't stand out as much as some of the other newer defensive backs have.
Yeah, you got to be careful with those American defensive backs, especially the ones that where did Nicario Harper go to school? Anyways, the guys that go to the schools and play a lot in the States, it's a real different feel when you've got a waggle rule that allows you to a wide receiver to just go at full speed at a DB, right, to the line of scrimmage. Even if that wide receiver is considered slow to a DB, when you get a 10-yard jump at the snap with a football, that alters the way you play, regardless of how much you played in college or even in the NFL. So I think that it was a good reminder for folks. Hey, I'm here to make the team. Right? Yeah. And whenever you see releases, guys are bummed out for a couple minutes, but then they start thinking about themselves and what they got to do again. So it gets the energy level back up.
Fighting Illinois.
Yeah, the Illini.
Yeah. Illini, yeah.
Illini, yeah, that's right. Sorry. What did I say, Illinois?
Well, that's big time football, right?
Yeah,
And normally you're like, you see the guys from Georgia come in, you see guys from those big schools in the Power 5 conferences. And again, you always have to remember there's a ton of nuances, regardless of what position you play in the Canadian Football League, that guys, despite some cool tenure, it's hard to catch on.
Speaking of reminders, that fight between Jefferson and Bulow yesterday, Corey Mace last year basically said they aren't going to put up with that extracurricular stuff. Do you think this sends the message now that everyone will get it now that they sent Jefferson packing?
Well, if you don't get the message, I'm not sure what's got to hit you in the face, right? Like a dude starts a fight and the next thing you know, he's released. The other guy's suspended. So
see, to me, what I will put in, though, is that the start of that, right, was when he came through the line. And again, I don't know how big of a blow it was on Jake Mayer, but it was contact, right? And you don't contact the quarterbacks. And when that gets the ire of your leadership group, like A.J. Ouellette, like Trevor Harris coming into that fray, obviously that's touched a tone. And you're right? Like, end of the day, this is the result.
Yeah, but look, like, wow, you proved you're a tough guy, and now look at you. You're deciding what you want to drink on WestJet and whether you're in an aisle seat. So I don't see that there's no absolutely zero. There's zero to gain from being a training camp tough guy. And by the way, if you're a defensive player, the no touching the quarterback rule that goes all the way back to college. That's something that you know. So fighting only hurts your chances. And right now there's a young man that's, like I said, that's probably waiting to board because you have to connect on the flights out of Regina, probably in Calgary's airport, waiting to board, regretting everything he did.
Don't we still have the odd direct somewhere? No, I think those started done for the season. Yeah, he does have to do a connector.
Direct to Toronto, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you probably connect him to wherever.
Okay, Coach Mace. You guys ready? We have Coach Mace talking about today's roster moves.
The whole roster, we knew that there was going to be some really tough decisions every cut down, and yesterday was exactly the same. We really like our depth, man, at a lot of the positions. So I don't want to say that there's one specific spot. That's why we put everybody on notice.
And then the next one is kind of what we talked about at the start. He talks about the tough decision they made, including Noah Zaire.
Yeah, and I wanted to be very clear about that. It's a production-based biz, and these decisions are going to come, and it's going to be tough on us. But we feel we have really good depth, and we think highly of Noah still, man. It was just a tough one, man. It's just how it rolled for us. But I think Noah's a good player, man, and how this game rolls. You know what I mean? I'm sure he won't be waiting too long somewhere.
And you could tell how these decisions weighed on Coach Mace. As a matter of fact, his dad is actually at training camp right now, and he said to me, those are the toughest days. He can see it in his son without actually having to talk to his son about it. So the other part of the day that was difficult today, though, was on the offensive line, as we've already got our first injury. As Sean McEwen, of course, we signed him as a free agent out of Calgary to come in and center the offensive line, and he watched from the north end zone with a pair of crutches sitting beside the chair that he was sitting on, and Coach Mace updated us on his status.
Just with his leg, he was doing some of the one-on-ones, and he did some stuff in Indian stuff. It didn't sit well with him. So we just want to make sure that we get the looks at it and make sure we get a better, cleaner idea of what's going on.
Well, you can never have too many offensive linemen. We got T-shirts. They're coming. SportsCage logo on them. Yeah, that's unfortunate, though. So early.
It's the only confidence or positive I think that you can take from McEwen's injury is they've already talked about the depth that they have there at the offensive line spot. There's a ton of guys, but more importantly, you look at last year and the rotation of offensive linemen that was forced upon Coach Edwin Harrison, and he always got guys ready to play. So I think that they'll be okay, but it is a massive loss, right? Sean McEwen's one of the best centers in the league when he's healthy. So hopefully that ends up being just something that keeps him out of camp for a couple days.
And what we saw was Zach Fry taking a rotational spot along with Philippe Gagnon. Of course, Zach, a draft pick of the Riders, was here last year, was one of the guys that went down with injury. Gagnon played with Montreal, had a season in Ottawa before returning to the Alouettes. So, and we've, of course, had him on the SportsCage here. But all in all, though, again, we put all of this behind us and everything that has gone on. Coach Mason and the entire staff go through the video each and every night. And we ask them every day, hey, how do you think you looked? Well, I asked him for an opinion of how he believes his team looks when they go back and watch that video.
I think there's just different spots all around, Dave. I think right now I'm really excited about how our offense is moving the ball in the run game. All of our quarterbacks are seeing it real nice. Our receivers are running great routes. I think defensively, throwing a little bit more on their plate and how they're handling that, it looks really good. The standard that we have for, causing and creating turnovers, those are still there. I'm just pleased with the level that we wanted to walk into camp with, the second time around, and everybody was willing to take that step, and we're putting it out there each day.
Obviously, no one wants to see. Go ahead, Luke.
No, I said you're starting to see those turnovers that he's talking about too. The defensive backs. I mean, Roland Milligan, he's out there. He looks great again. I think Marcus Sales is probably the best guy in camp right now, offense or defense. But you're also getting contributions from young cats. You're looking at, let's see, Antoine Brooks Jr. He had a couple picks today. I saw him playing well. DeMarcus Fields has caught my eye a little bit as we've gone along. So. Again, from the turnover perspective, you have to like what you're seeing. And
speaking of injuries, they're slow. They're going to be slow with Bain Jr. coming into this season due to his knee injury from last year. Who are some of these new American receivers looking?
Ruby Tuesday.
Well, I don't know if you look at the new American receivers. I think you look at the guys that you have. Dante Myers is having a hell of a camp. He looks great. Kean Schaefer-Baker looks great. You've seen spots from guys like Joe Robustelli. I think that one of the guys, and that's the other thing too, right, is that once you get into day 4, day 5 of camp, now the playbook's starting to get a little bit deeper. So now you're seeing the wide receivers that are new to the team, they're starting to actually slow down a little bit. And the reason why is because they've got a number of plays drawn up now, and those plays have different shifts to them if you're looking at certain looks or blitzes. So as the mental side of camp now starts getting heavy, some of these guys are going to noticeably slow down. So, for instance, Braden Missouri, right? He had a couple spectacular catches the other day, didn't really show today, and you can really look at the guys that are starting to think there as they're out on the field. But again, you're also seeing some great separation. Deshaun Mims is having a heck of a camp as well. I keep looking up, and every time I look up, Deshaun Mims is catching a pass. But I would say the guy who's stuck out the most, other than Kean Schaefer-Baker, who you'd expect, is probably Dante Myers. And again, the other piece to that puzzle is Keyshawn Johnson. He's come in here just like he looked last year in camp. He's having a solid camp this year, and a guy that I think is going to have a spectacular year.
What are you guys seeing? Obviously, when we see running backs get released, and we talked about Trent Penix, what are you seeing there? Can we compare him to anybody that we've seen in the last few years from your lens, Luke?
I know I'll let Dave get into a comparison. I think Dave has a comparison for you. I don't see any comparison at the moment just because we haven't seen these guys block. I was talking to a buddy there at training camp today, and it was one of the first things he said as well when we were talking about the Penix and Anderson is like, well, we got to see him block. So there's a lot left to be desired there in terms of gathering that information. But again, it looks like Penix and Anderson are really starting to catch on. And another guy who's having a consistent camp, he doesn't blow anybody's mind when he's out there, but he's out there a ton. He's getting a ton of reps, and that is Thomas Bergeron. And I love that they're giving him touches because, again, he's a guy that is going to be on the roster for special teams and depth, and he's going to be a guy that may need to close out a couple games regardless of how the American running back depth figures out. So it's nice to see 30 getting a lot of touches.
Yeah, he definitely is. And just for point of comparison, it's interesting to me how Penix will make a run and it'll look really, really great. And then the next time he'll get stopped. So Anderson goes in, he makes a run, and then the next time he gets stopped. And it is just neck and neck with the two. But the one thing that they can both do tremendously well, and even I've noticed AJ Ouellette doing this more in this camp, catching the football out in the flat. They're making a very concerted effort to make sure that they can catch the ball.
AJ Ouellette's biggest play today came by catching the ball. And I think you're right. Well, first of all, when you see a running back break a long run, Dave, the D-line, we have our pride, right? So the next time we're going to bow our neck a little bit.
Fair
right?
enough. Yeah.
But also, too, one of the things that you're going to start to see is the differential between the yards gained and possessions because they're starting to work situational football now, right? You had a lot of 1st and 10, you had a lot of 2nd and 5, 2nd and 4 situations. So situational football is now starting to come into play. And again, as when you have a veteran group of defensive players there, especially in all positions, it's your football IQ, right? So if we go in, Coach Mace yells, situational football, we're going this way, team, get the ones up. Well, if it's 1st and 10, that defense out there is going to be looking for the run, right?
Yeah.
So you might get guys getting stocked up, but you have to remember it might not be just he had one run, I guess he's tired or something now. No, it might be the situation that high IQ defensive players are also looking at, right? Where are the sticks and how do we play this?
Switching to the defensive side of the ball, I know one of the big signings the Riders brought in this year was Tevon Campbell, and a lot of fans are wondering, does he still have what he had before he went down south? He hasn't played like live fire football in a long time. How is he looking in camp right now?
Well, last time he was on the field was in August, right? So that was when he was released in the National Football League, and he had some time to contemplate. He's going to be turning 32 next week, or this week, pardon me. So what? Thursday, Friday,
June 14th, it says, is his birthday.
Okay, there you go then. Well, he'll be turning 32 though, right? And
Yep.
I talked to him. I said, like, do you feel 32? And he says, no, I really, my body feels good. My mind feels good. And he's in a good spot. He literally decided in this offseason to talk to his family because his family is what powers him. And he said, okay, they decided that this was something that I wanted to do. And I looked at the roster and I evaluated where I could play. And this was the definite landing spot for him. And he hasn't looked out of place. He has done his job well, in my opinion. And I think he's going to be solid in the secondary and another ratio changer.
I think that too. The other thing about this, guys, is just keep on reminding yourself what other studs these guys have, specifically in the secondary, right? Revis is a guy who's going to be able to play in any spot, linebacker or defensive back. Again, Roland Milligan, man, he's just out there doing Agent Zero type things. There was a couple plays today with receivers catching footballs that got the roar of the crowd, but I was sitting up in my spot being like, man, Roland Milligan would have removed that guy's helmet if this was a real game, right? Like he's just on time. His timing's great. Again, I've talked about Marcus Sales, best guy in camp, in my opinion, right now. DeMarcus Fields having a good camp. Also, again, Antoine Brooks Jr., don't count him out. I know that, again, this is a hard roster to crack on, especially in the secondary, but Antoine Brooks Jr. looks all right too.
Okay, so we're going to wrap up this hour's training camp report. And in hour 2, Dave, we got to remember to talk about Green and White Day returning to Saskatoon on Saturday. I know you're a big part of that. And it's great to hear about Tavon Campbell because I wanted to ask about that. And Dave, when you said, I asked him if he feels 31 and he says no, I was like, I thought you were going to say, because he's been training with Zach Caleros and Sean Lemon. And I'm like, no, don't say that. Don't say that. Do you get it? Do you get it?
Hey, before you go, I know we got to go.
Yeah.
But I gotta mention one other guy.
Toronto Maple Leafs?
He's not. No. Don't worry about that. They're winning in a couple hours here. Jack Cohn. Jack Cohn has had a good camp. He's out here throwing the ball. He, in my mind, on that depth chart, he's above Tommy Stevens, okay? And he's right there with Jake Mayer. I really do think that. I think that Jack Cohn, for the reps that he's getting so far, he's pushing guys. And that's a great thing to see.
Let's go into that in hour 2. I'm going to write that down, Luke, and then we'll go more into that, what you're seeing there, what you like, because that's a big statement from you. So we'll talk about that in hour 2. What do you got?
I got a sneaky good one too. So let me give that one to you after 2. I won't do it now, but I'll just tell you, nothing runs like a Ford.
You guys are beauties.
I would like to point out this is brought up by Regina Motor Products.
Well, why would you have to bring that up?
Great,
That's
great
fine.
Certified pre-owned at Regina Motor Products. I can speak to that firsthand. Go check them out.
There we go. Right on. Smooth, Dave. Smooth. All right, fellas, relax. We'll get back to you where Dave and Luke are situated at the Red Zone Sports Bar. They're bringing you the training camp reports right behind the Saskatoon Travelodge. Not sure the specials today, fellas. Maybe you can let our listeners know. There's some people around the Saskatoon area might slink in for a steak sando or something.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Always a good option. Also, the $15 Blue Jay special on tonight as the Jays try to rebound after that horrible 9th inning last night. $15 gets you a burger, fries, and a beverage.
Is that what we're getting tonight? Is that? I remember.
That's what we're getting. Yeah.
That's what we're getting.
Yeah. Plus, there's the Maple Leaf special too. But
what's the Maple Leaf special?
Well, they just don't serve it with cups.
Really? That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Wow.
Yeah. That's right. Stick it to him,
man. That's some BS.
Sorry.
Can I name Dave as my clutch performer now?
That's unbelievable. I'm just sitting here minding my own business, man. I'll put my sunglasses back on.
You should have. What are you thinking about that game? Like, what's your thoughts on Austin Matthews?
My thoughts on Austin Matthews is if he doesn't want the C, give it to Nylander. He's not playing like the C. He's paid to be at a certain level and play at a certain level, and that includes scoring goals. So, again, just give it to Nylander. If we want a captain with some heart, he's playing hard, right? And I'm just hoping we get a little bit of help from Wall for Wall today because. Yeah. Again, he was. There was only a select few of guys but it's going to help being back in Toronto, right? So.
Oh, but
I just think that we went up 2-0, and then they just realized, oh, wait a second, we're the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's not supposed to be easy. So slow down. We got to screw this up a little bit before we get to the third round.
No, if Panthers score first tonight, that Toronto rink will sound like Spears Funeral Chapel. It will be.
I don't know, man. We're a pretty resilient bunch.
No, you're not. You got you got jeans and sport coat guy. That's all that's there. There's no passionate fans. If they are, they're way up in the boonies.
No, there's. Listen, we sneak a few fans in there during the playoffs, though, Barney. You know, it's the regular season. Yeah, you got sport coat guy, right? But there'll be a ton of actual hockey fans in there today.
Can I sneak in an over/under? Over/under whether or not Nylander gets run by Tkachuk tonight. Yes, no?
Oh, what's the over/under?
Over, it's going to happen. Under, it ain't going to happen.
Oh, I would think so.
I don't think so.
I would think so. That's all Tkachuks are good for.
I think Domi will have to have his head on a swivel, especially if it gets out of hand a little bit.
Don't worry, boys. It's not getting out of hand. We're winning today.
Yeah, no, it's you can sit. You guys got the life right now. Like, so jealous, sitting there eating pub food, get to watch the sports, talk Rider football, training camp. We're going into hour 2. Any big plays today that we can tell the people about that weren't there? Anything that stands out?
Well, for you immediately said to me, Marcus Sayles is the best you've seen.
Yeah, Marcus Sayles is balling in camp today. I think he's the best guy out there in terms of big plays. Actually, he had a couple nice breakups today.
Yeah, 3 consecutive plays. Yeah,
big plays. I think it was Sam Emilus that hawked that jump ball on the sideline against number 32.
Yeah,
he's a newcomer, but yeah, Sam Emilus. It was a beautiful catch because we were competing. Mm-hmm. It was situational football, and Emilus, I mean, this is essentially what he does, though, right? Like, he's known for these plays. But Emilus just sort of reminded us who he is by jumping up in a crowd of about 2 to 3 guys. And he landed awkwardly, too.
Oh, yeah.
And hopped right back up. Like, 32 ended up getting injured on this play. But Emilus was the one who looked like he fell the worst.
Yeah.
So it was good to see nothing came of it for anybody, right? But I think that was probably the play of the day, that jump ball towards the end of practice with Sam Emilus in the crowd.
Luke, on the last time you said you want to talk about Jack Cohn, so what has he done? I know the Riders are high on him after everything they put out about him last year, but what are you seeing now?
Well, he's obviously playing with a little bit more confidence, which I think is I mean, last year, one of the biggest things, when you're a rookie, you could tell he was thinking a lot, right? And I think I pointed this out to you last year, is that he seemed like mechanically he was just a sliver behind the other guys in the room. And I think that he's caught up mechanically as well. So he's seeing the field really well. He's obviously got a ton of confidence coming into year 2 under Mark Mueller, and it shows. I think he's outplayed Tommy Stevens when they've had – of course, I mean, Tommy Stevens is going to – you're going to eventually have to go into a 3rd or 2nd and 1 sort of situation, and Tommy Stevens is as tall as Cooper Flagg, so he's going to have the 3rd down advantage there. But he's a better thrower than Tommy Stevens for sure, and I think that he's done just as much as Jake Mayer. Now, I'm not comparing the guys, but I'm just saying, like, he's done as much as Jake Mayer has. I think he's been really consistent. I haven't seen too many bad balls from him. And then again, I think that Trevor Harris continues to just ascend as a QB1, right? Which you would expect.
True.
Where do you see him landing then this year? Like let's fast forward to August. Where is Cohen?
I think he's on the roster. I think that you've got Harris, Mayer, obviously Stevens fills a need on the 3rd down thing. But again, like, it depends how you look at 3rd down. Do you look at 3rd down as a critical element to your game? I would say so. There's been times where 3rd down has impacted the result of a Saskatchewan Roughriders win or loss from a short yardage position. You saw us struggle a little bit at the end of the year with no true short yardage quarterback. Shea Patterson lost his mind a little bit, in spots when he had his opportunities. But again, I would put him third in the depth chart right now if you're looking at just throwing. Sure.
What I wonder is we've seen this in Hamilton with Litre, right? A fullback plays the third down play. He's used to carrying the ball. Yeah. They've got a bigger frame behind them. We saw AJ Ouellette do it twice last year for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
That's what I'd like to see.
AJ Ouellette?
No, not AJ Ouellette, but just like
Thomas Bertrand-Houdon.
Thomas Bertrand-Houdon.
What about Albert Awachi?
Albert Awachi, he's been hurt. Can't make the club in the tub. We don't know what's wrong with Awachi, right? But again, I that's the route I'd go, because I'd third down quarterback is important, but the third down is really what the important part is, because not a lot of teams throw out of third down. You might catch a team sleeping and want to hit them up, right? But that happens few and far between. I would love to see Cone on this roster somehow.
I think it's going to be really tricky on how that plays out. Speaking of it, what's around the horn here? Everybody's take on Shea Patterson getting released in Winnipeg.
Go ahead.
I'm going to go first. I think that it's not a huge surprise that this is training camp. We obviously don't know how he came into camp. One thing I can tell you, though, is that Mike O'Shea, once you're a Mike O'Shea guy, you're a Mike O'Shea guy. And I think that Patterson went into a situation where the Bombers expected him to either take a spot or just not be in a spot. And maybe they made that decision early. So, again, I'm not sure who they got on their roster. I know they got Caleros, and I know that the Canuck truck over there is healthy.
Strevler.
Strevler. Other than that, I'm not sure who they've got on the roster. I know they like the third string QB guy, the guy they bumped up to number 2 when Strevler went down. So I think that was probably where the competition was between that quarterback and Patterson. I don't think Patterson was competing in the same realm as Strevler and Caleros. And again, it's because once you're a Mike O'Shea guy, you're a Mike O'Shea guy for as long as possible.
Good point. Dave, you go ahead.
My quick thought was that Shea was going into a tough spot there, right? And the Bombers before camp released Jake Delagala, and he knew what he was getting into. And for me, I continued to see Shea grow last year, but last year was a big opportunity for him, right? Because when you get those starts, you got to make the most of them. Look what Davis Alexander did in Montreal. He got his starts, and he made the most of them. So for Shea Patterson, again, he had to come in and have a strong camp, but unfortunately just wasn't able to unseat what was already there. I'm with you on that, Luke.
Yeah, I felt that last year Shea Patterson, his clock was always moving too fast. I think that he had too much going on in his mind sometimes.
So, Dave, I got Luke going. Let's get you going. Let's hear about your nothing runs like a Ford. You know that's wrong.
I'm not going to get into that because I know what brand loyalty is in this province, and I don't want to get all up on social media on that. But what I will tell you is that there's guys that are making a statement, right? And we've talked about the depth on this roster, and guys that, are familiar names need to go out and do something. And today, again, we all know that Nelson Lacombo is going to be the starting safety game number 1 of this season. And there's going to be some battles behind him. Jaden Dahlke, of course, got opportunities and reps last year to play in that position in the secondary. Jackson Ford was hurt all year last year. And I'll tell you, I thought Jackson did a terrific job today in the fact that he commanded the defense. He was making the calls, and you could see him brimming with confidence out there. And again, everything that he went through last year and having to rehab and get himself into game shape, came back, got nicked up again. You know what? You cheer for a kid that's a local product. And again, who's going to forget the play that he made during Labor Day when he swatted that pass down to win the game for the Riders? Like, he does the right things, and I really think he's taken a step ahead.
Character, right? Like, everything he's been through in a 12-month span, that says a lot about the guy's character. The other thing, we talked about it in hour 1, we went kind of through the receivers and all that. I like what this guy showed last year. I'm expecting not as much as Dante Myers, but you had a chance to talk to Roboselli, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, he's coming into camp with a purpose. He's got a touchdown streak with at least one touchdown in each and every practice thus far. Usually he's getting 2 on average, had another 2 today. And you know what? His backstory is incredible, right? Last year he got the call while he was delivering a package to come up to camp. The guy has really played 3 years of high-level competitive football, and that's it. So he's come in, he's made a statement, and again, he was ready to ride into this offseason. How much did getting into that last game last year inspire your offseason?
Big time, big time. I think if you go look at the film, I left a little bit out on the field. I wish I could have had some of the plays back, but I think I kind of felt the game and felt, I could hang here. And I think if there was a little more work that was done in the offseason, that I think I could excel at a very high level. And I think I still have a lot of work to do, but I'm excited to, progress and keep going.
Comfortable sometimes is a negative word. Oh, I'm comfortable. But you look very comfortable with what you're doing on the field. Is that a correct assessment and a positive assessment?
Yeah, I think last year I got a little bit comfortable on practice squad to the point where I felt like I knew the plays, but I wasn't really locked in on the details. And all they talk about is know the details. So even when I was getting my reps, I would maybe mess up on the details, like I wasn't hot or something like that. And in the offseason, just really making sure that I knew exactly what I was doing on every single play and making sure that when I got my opportunity that, I was going to succeed and not have any misassignments or anything like that.
Maybe knowing what you were coming into this year, did your offseason change? Was it more mental preparation as opposed to physical?
A lot more mental. I think as of before I came in, I've thought of myself as an athlete, just natural raw talent, and that doesn't always mean that you're going to fit a certain position. I think I've had to transition into becoming a wide receiver, and just working on certain stuff. Like I'm obviously fast, but just working on controlling myself, running routes and stuff like that. So just working at the top of my routes and stuff like that, and then also just, like you said, a lot more mental.
It looks like you're playing more physical this year, though, too. Like when you go for a contested catch, your body seems to be in much more of a positive position, even when you're blocking or setting up for the run scheme. Do you believe that?
Yeah, definitely. So before I even went and played at Tusculum, when I was up in college, and like I said, I didn't do too well. I was playing for my fraternity's intramural flag football team. So I was playing a lot of flag football, so there's no blocking, just kind of running routes and stuff like that. And even before I went to Tusculum, I was on I had made the team for the U.S. national team. So I was just playing a lot of flag football where you weren't really allowed to touch each other. So it took me a while to getting used to learning how to block and all that stuff like that. And even Coach Quay at the end of last year, he was like, listen, we need you to work on your blocking. And that's something that I kind of focused on in the off season and that I'm still trying to focus on and get better at right now.
2-part question. If Trevor Harris likes you, he will give you a nickname. Does he like you?
Yeah, he does. He gave me the nickname Jellyman, which is the ultimate respect to somebody who he played with, who he said was a dog on the field, and I remind him of him. So yeah,
keep being a dog. Thanks for doing this.
I appreciate you guys.
So it's
Jellyman.
Jellyman and being a dog.
Did we ever find out what the package was that he was delivering? I'm serious.
I did not.
Come on,
Was
we're
he
gonna
like an
find that out.
Amazon worker? Is that what it was?
I think
Maybe
UPS. I
FedEx.
thought.
Maybe he's delivering Wilson.
UPS.
Wilson.
Oh,
No,
man, listen,
that you-
I hate to break it to you fellas, but FedEx, UPS, and Amazon, all those delivery drivers, man, they're on borrowed time with these drones and robots coming out these days.
Those
man.
robots. I saw one 2 years ago with the kids on ASU on campus delivering food, and we were just like, what year is it?
Oh, yeah.
So Back to
Same
the
with
Future
Uber.
is going to finally happen?
Yeah.
Same with
Meanwhile,
Uber. Once the self-driving cars are really sort of ready to roll and are troubleshot, oh man, that's when everybody that invests in Uber, their investments are going to skyrocket.
meanwhile, I don't know if you heard with Eric Francis in Saskatchewan in Regina. I can't pre-book my appointment to give blood this morning. I have to go stand in line 70 deep. So I think we're a ways away from that here. Let's get the online booking from Life Labs first. You had a question.
Well, that's just because you can't give blood when you bleed pickle juice, Barney. That's why they're making you line up there, buddy.
Oh, I can't wait to win that bet.
Gherkin or kosher? What were we talking about here?
Yeah.
Back to the receivers. Wayne Ruby Jr. came in with a bunch of confidence. How is he looking in camp right now?
He stood out right away. He absolutely stood out right away in rookie camp. He came into play, and he was a favorite target. But unfortunately, your reps go down right when the vets come in. So his reps have gone down. He's made the most of his opportunities. But again, when you got guys like Joe Robicelli, Dante Myers, you got Samuel Emlis making the catch that he did today, Kean Schaefer. When you've got that happening in front of you, it's real hard. And again, coach said there's going to be some difficult depth chart positions.
And you always got to remember that the playbook, as the more you install the playbook, the new guys, there's a noticeable change in their ability to play fast, and it's because they're thinking so much. So not only do you have a ton of reps that are not out there like they were in rookie camp, now you've got a ton of plays and expectations, and sometimes that moves fast for people. I've seen a ton of guys that when you see them in the locker room or you see them just in shorts and shirt playing around, you're just like, oh man, this guy's the greatest athlete I've ever seen. But you got to be able to catch on to a pro playbook. And that's one of the things that we'll start seeing here as camp moves on, is guys will start falling off just because they can't keep up with the book.
Okay, we got a quick turnaround. We're getting back to you guys in hour 3 in about 15 minutes time. Okay, so get your Smart Aleck comments ready over there, Mr. Mullinder. Jerk. Split screen. Are they still munching on nachos? Let's see how they are doing. How were they? Big guac guys, right? You guys didn't go any salsa? You just went straight guac?
No, this is the red zone spinach dip. And, not only
with nacho chips, not pita chips. Oh, come on.
Are those pita chips or are those?
Listen to Gordon Ramsay. listen to this.
No, what are you running? What are you running there? Is that some sort of corn chip?
But the best part, this is infused with like cheddar and mozzarella mix.
Yeah.
That makes it incredible.
Heated to perfect.
Yeah, heated to perfection.
Yeah.
Right? And Dave's got a chicken Caesar wrap waiting on him over there, and I've got the cheeseburger with a salad. So,
I hope you
guys are chewing on paper and thumbtacks
and pickle juice
sweating pickle juice.
Can you go just for giggles, go and give some blood tomorrow? I want to see what it comes back like after that spinach dip and cheeseburger.
It doesn't take AM. The blood
bourbon sauce.
It does not take AM blood. Unfortunately.
We started the show. We talked about the guys that were released today. I think some people, the casual fan, probably a little bit surprised with Noah Zaire. Dave, we got a lot of offensive linemen there, right?
Absolutely. Philippe Gagnon, right? Comes in from Montreal, 10-year pro, and he's not taking first-team reps right now, right? Like, you look at the depth that is available on the offensive line and the number of guys that had an opportunity last year to step up and play. Nick Jones, we haven't talked about him. He started a couple of games last year. Again, we haven't mentioned his name, but he's still working hard, working and competing. You can go ahead down the line. Jacob Brammer, who's getting first-team reps right now, again, had an opportunity last year, got nicked up, couldn't finish the season. You're bringing back a guy like Jermarcus Hardrick, right? And then you bring in Sean McEwen, who, albeit injured right now, didn't dress or play today, and we'll have to wait and see what the status is of what he'll be short-term and long-term with a leg injury. But again, there's so much depth, and
Trayvon Tate's looked good.
Yeah.
And he's that left tackle guy. But and you got some length in there too, right? With Daniel Johnson and Jameer Ross Johnson too. They've been getting a ton of reps. I think that's sort of the magic that the Riders have to work with at the moment. Obviously, McEwen's injury is incredibly inconvenient. However, you also do get to start tinkering like they did last year with what your best combination is in injury situations, right? You've always got like injury situation 1, injury situation 2, and then worst case scenario 3, right? So you've got to know those.
And the one thing I will say and point out is that Joe Couch today, when I had a conversation with him, of course, he was released as well from the team yesterday. He says, I know that it's not personal. It's nothing personal. It's nothing that I did. And that's the same thing with Noah Zaire, right? How much time has he given to this province in different fundraisers and everything like that? It's nothing personal. It's just the crappy side of the business.
And it could be back at some point. Coach Mace, we have a clip here talking about the roster moves today.
Coming in, as we stacked the whole roster, we knew that there was going to be some really tough decisions every cut down, and yesterday was exactly the same. We really like our depth, man, at a lot of the positions. So I don't want to say that there's one specific spot. That's why we put everybody on notice.
And then he talks about the tough decisions that were made, including the veteran Noah Zaire.
Yeah, and I wanted to be very clear about that. It's a production-based biz, and these decisions are going to come, and it's going to be tough on us. But we feel we have really good depth, and we think highly of Noah still, man. It was just a tough one, man. It's just how it rolled for us. But I think Noah's a good player, man, and how this game rolls, you know what I mean? I'm sure he won't be waiting too long somewhere.
Hey, Luke, and you called it yesterday after the brouhaha, the tussle, that, good. Those are goodbye papers that you're writing, and Justin Jefferson was let go today.
Yeah, again, you can't – hold on. We almost scored on a breakaway and broke Barney's heart over there. So
no, you just had the crossbar save you too.
You have to understand that this is a business. It's the toughest job interview in the world, and every single rep that you get in practice is a bar of gold. Choosing to waste those reps and opportunities is the dumbest thing you could ever do as a professional athlete or somebody who wants to be a professional athlete. So you shouldn't be surprised when especially now in year 2 with Corey Mace, where there's a clear expectation on practice habits and execution. Wasting everybody's time getting into a fight and sacrificing those repetitions that get you put on paper. Crazy to me. It's crazy to me in a training camp setting that you would want to do that.
Were you surprised? You said you weren't surprised that Noah Zaire was kind of one of the guys on the outside looking in.
No, I thought going into the season he was on the bubble anyway. You already had, of course, Logan Ferland. They brought in McEwen. They had Zach Fry on the roster. They brought in Gagnon. Plus they have Johnson. They're Canadian, and then they went out and drafted Anderson. They already had the depth. So at some point you want to see the Zach Fries play. You want to see that Daniel Johnson take the next step. So unfortunately, I think Zaire was on the bubble the entire time.
Dave,
I think that.
So go ahead, Luke.
No, I was just going to say I think Zaire is just the victim of the fact that there's a lot of talent on this offensive line in training camp, and you can't keep everybody.
We're still fresh here, and we're only sitting into Wednesday, and I think we talked about it in day one. And he had a whirlwind to get here. Ali Saad, first round pick. Last couple of days, has he settled in a bit, a little bit more? Is that a tough one to answer?
What I would submit is that day one, right? The guy had 7 hours sleep after traveling, after studying, right? I would submit that day one, his eyes were wide open. Day two, he straps the pads on, and he brought every bit of physicality that he said that he would. And now, to me, he seems to assimilate more, not standing out for the wrong reasons. So I think that's a testament to what he's come in and what he's been able to do. But again, he does have an uphill battle because there is so much depth on that defensive line that it is going to be real tough and some real tough decisions to be made.
He's got some good athleticism, though. I will say that. I was impressed with his ability to stunt. They were working some twists and games today. And you've seen him in pass rush where he's displayed a really good sort of first step and can get to either side of an offensive lineman quickly. And again, I think that when we drafted Ali, the first thing I said is you're now about to get the best performance possible out of Lake Corte Moore, Benoit Marion, and Charbel DeBeer. I think that Charbel DeBeer's got to pick himself up here, right, and continue to press. I think that Lake Corte Moore's looked good, but again, that's what you get. Canadians, when they see their competition sitting right next to the locker with them, you get a little bit more out of those Canadians, and it's always been like that. I was like that as a player. The guys that I played with, were like that as players than Canadians. So,
well, I had a conversation with Lake Corte Moore, and again, we know that AJ Ouellette underwent that amazing body transformation in the offseason. Lake Corte Moore did as well. He shed some pounds because he said that, while he was stronger, he felt he was losing some of his quickness. So he shed some weight, and then what he did was he changed up his repetitions in the weight room. So instead of going ahead and maxing out as far as endurance went, he went ahead with max lift. And again, just to provide that burst that he felt that he was lacking last year.
Yeah, speed and explosiveness is everything to a defensive lineman.
Luke, I saw a tweet from you earlier today talking about how with the retirement of Hadley, there's no one to push Lothar. How is Lothar looking this year? I know he went through that little stint last year where he just couldn't make a kick, and then he got it back by playoffs. But I know Rider fans have been looking for someone to push him for a few years now.
Yeah, I think that it's always a good idea, no matter who you have, if you can manage it on the roster, is to have a kicker behind a kicker. It just keeps you honest, right? And you can't. You've got to always. Football is one of the most competitive sports in the world, and again, this is the toughest job interview in the world. So everybody should be interviewing at some point, right? And I think that I get that Lowther's done a ton here, right? He's done a ton in the community, but the community work that you do is to give back for the opportunities that you get through football. It's not the other way around. You don't get to play football because you did the community work. You know what I mean? So I think that for Lowther, again, a guy, if he continually sees a guy behind him that's in there, and if that guy's practicing well and taking advantage of it, pushes you, right? It's natural. It's a good thing, I think. I think that, and again, I've always been a fan of it, and I think that it's one of the things that I would love to see. But again, I'm not the GM,
but
or the coach.
But when it comes to Brett Lothar, right? So last year he was lights out. After the 3-for-7 performance against Montreal, he owned that. He said it was on him. After that, he missed one field goal the rest of the year, which was a 60-yard attempt at the end of the Labor Day Classic. So to me, I would suggest that maybe there's some self-motivation in there that puts him in the right frame of mind, that he doesn't need that external competition. I know everybody does at some point, but at this place in time, I don't know that he does. And fun fact, fellas, if for whatever reason there was no kicker or punter available, who is the next man on the Riders roster that would be able to take a field goal? Any ideas? Like, remember Glenn Suter said, put your hand up for being a holder and whatever. Who's the next guy that's going to take that kick for the Saskatchewan Roughriders? Micah Johnson apparently would be all over volunteering, but it wouldn't be Micah Johnson.
Oh, yeah. Well, everybody's going to volunteer to be the kicker, but there's only a select few. I guarantee you, like I would look to the Lacombo guys.
No,
I would look to the couple of the receivers. Emelis.
Kian Schaefer-Baker.
Shafe?
No, Samuel Emelis.
Yeah,
and he could do it. And when he made that catch today, by the way, he got up and he punted the ball 50 yards down the field. Yeah.
They should have that. They let them boot one, right? Let's
a pass punt kit competition, right, in the middle of practice. Why not?
Hey, you did good job last year at that Regina Thunder one.
Belichick always did that with the Patriots. What he would do is he would present the day an opportunity to have a day off if one of his linemen or big guys could either kick a field goal or catch a punt. And there's all sorts of clips where so now you have a lineman that has the team's fate hanging in the balance based on his ability to kick like a 35-yarder, and some of the clips are awesome.
That 2006 Doug Flutie drop kick that Belichick let him do because it was kind of the end and the first one that was completed since 1941.
Yeah, it was like 50. Yeah, it was like over 50 years.
Yeah, that was awesome. Go ahead.
You caught me off guard after you brought up the drop kick.
The drop kick, yeah, not a thing. We're more of a Rouge League. Hey, Dave, we're gonna you got another interview coming up here for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, with Sean McEwen going out, and again, the talk was the offensive lines. There's now 15 players that are vying for positions on the roster. And if you looked at it left to right today, left side, you got Trayvon Tate at the left tackle. Then at the left guard spot, you continue to have Jacob Brammer there. Then at center, without McEwen, you had Zach Fry and Philippe Gagnon that were taking alternating snaps or some alternating reps. Fry did get the majority, but Gagnon was right there. Then, of course, you've got Logan Ferland and Jamarcus Hardrick. And I wanted to find out from Philippe Gagnon, who has not played a lot of center in his career, I wanted to find out from him what it was like trying to take on that role today at practice.
Switch sides of the line. How do you do that?
You got to do the extra work, and when you have to play center, then that really helps because you got to know not what just you're doing, but what everybody's doing. You got to be able to direct everybody to their correct assignment. So yeah, it's just you got to know, you got to learn the job, and then the more you can do, the better it is. The longer you'll last in this league, that's for sure. So you just got to be ready for everything, like you said.
So when you're preparing with this group, it is a veteran group. There's a lot of guys that have been around for a while. Is that easier or harder? Because obviously you want to make sure you're ready, but also stand out as well and look good on film.
There's pros and cons for sure. I mean, when you get into a room like this with a good group of guys who've worked together for a number of years, obviously they're used to doing things a certain way, and then they got their own calls, their own stuff. So you can't just get in there and then try to throw a wrench in the cogs. You gotta assimilate into this. You gotta really fit in with the culture, and then after that you can bring in your own experience in this. So it takes time to build chemistry, but these guys are all solid. You're one of the best group of people I've ever worked with. So it's really easy to fit in with these kind of guys.
Can you explain that dynamic to me then? Because obviously you're competing for jobs, but you're also competing to be the best team you can be.
At the end of the day, football is a team sport, and honestly, the O-line is almost a team within a team. You can be the best damn O-line that's ever played, but if you're alone on that O-line, who knows what he's got to do, who can play well, then you're still gonna have a pretty bad year. So you can't be selfish. You gotta share those tips. You gotta help the guy. You gotta push the guys ahead of you. You gotta help the guys who are behind you on the depth chart, so they can push you. You gotta collectively make everyone better, because this position, we gotta be five on the same page. I mean, it's one of the old saying is 5 as 1 on the O-line, is everybody's gonna share the same brain cell, if you will, and see everything the same way. So you have to do this work, and I think it comes naturally to the position because of its nature.
So there's two components of the offense that are behind you, the quarterback and the running back, and you have to get on the same page as them without seeing them. Let's start with the quarterback, because you've been blocking for a number of quarterbacks, from Cody Fajardo to Davis Alexander, now to Trevor Harris. Does each quarterback have a different element that they bring that you need to adjust to?
I mean, I think at the end of the day, they have, they're all their own kind of player. They all have their own style, and then you gotta. It's the reality of it is the quarterback is much harder to replace than an O-line. As much as I'd like to say the opposite, but it is true. So at the end of the day, whatever they want, we gotta find a way to make that work. We gotta find a way to make this our objective, our aim. So it's everybody's got his own style, and you just find a way to make it work, and with whatever they ask of you.
AJ Ouellette mentioned last year, and one of the things that really stood out to me was that I have to communicate better with my offensive line so they understand what I'm seeing and I understand what they're seeing. How open is that communication?
It's going great, honestly. I mean, it's and there's a lot asked of everyone on that offense, not just the O-line, not just the running back. Everybody's got to communicate well. Everybody's got to make those front IDs, make those signs, make sure that everybody, through whatever key that we've got for each other, that everybody sees the same thing and is expecting the play to go the same way. So this way, it's the only way to have success. If you got 10, 11 guys pulling one way and 1 or 2 pulling the other way, then obviously it can't work. You're just working against yourself. So communication is paramount, and I think we've got a good thing going in that regard.
Philippe, I really appreciate your time. All the best through camp.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Okay, fellas, tomorrow is Thursday. What are we looking forward to tomorrow? What are your eyeballs going to be on, Dave, starting with you?
To me, I'm going to watch this offensive line, right? See who lands where and see what happens with an opportunity with Sean McEwen. I'm assuming going to be out again tomorrow, so I'll be watching the offensive line and see what they do and what the repetitions look like for all 15 of those guys.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Dave. I think that one of the things that I'll add is I'd like to see Jamarcus Hardrick and the DBs. I'd like to see their attitudes become a little bit more infectious. I'd like the level of practice noise and chatter to elevate a little bit. It's not a concern at all, But man, it would be great if it was.
I'm very curious to hear your attitude tomorrow, Luke, when the Leafs are down 3-2. But we'll catch up with you guys. So we'll have fun with the.
He's gone.
He's got a burger waiting. I'm surprised he lasted this long. To be honest with you.
I'm surprised he was there when we came back and they were down 1-0.
Yeah, Florida's up 1-0. 4:40 left in the first. Okay, Dave, have a good night, buddy. See you later.